Well, thank you everybody for coming tonight. A little bit smaller group than we're used to for these Zoom events, but Amaro's a funny one because yeah, either people are into it or it's something that they're kind of afraid of. So thank y'all for participating and being interested in the Amaros. And yeah, super excited to have Ryan Younkers here, who is a good friend of the wine country. I've known Ryan since I was a teenager, so it's been a while. But yeah, he's a master at historical facts for booze. Like anytime him and I sit down and we have some of the brands that he works with that have some more historical background to them, always get a nice bit of information from that. So that's always fun. And then yeah, just with Montenegro, they've been around for a while. What was that exact date? The 1885. So they definitely have some history to them. And Amaros are really fun in my opinion, just because they are very versatile. Typically, depending on what kind of bars you go to, if you go to more of the Long Beach crafty dive bar, you see a lot of different Amaros there. You'll see a lot of the bartenders, taking a shot of Amaro themselves to kind of set themselves up even for the night or at the end of the night. So yeah, I mean, it's a nice style for sure. Or no, sorry, it's a nice category for sure, and it's definitely expanding. Over the last year for sure, I've been getting a lot more people asking about Amaros, kind of just interested in what they are, the different kind of flavors of them. And that's the fun part about Amaro is that they are so versatile. It's not like one style you can say, oh, Amaro all tastes like this. They all have very different profiles because really the only requirement for them is that they have a bittering effect to them. They have a little bit of that kind of medicinal note to them because they actually used to be medicine back in the day. These were some of the earliest forms of medicines when people didn't really when doctors weren't really looked upon as the best and brightest as they are now, and they were the mad scientists that people always thought about. This is the kind of concoctions they would make, where these bittering, herbaceous driven botanical liqueurs that would serve as a cure-all or serve as something that kind of helps at ease. Like if you've ever been too full after dinner, you take a little shot of Amaro and it kind of helps digest everything. Part of the reason why there's the digestif category in these two. But yeah, so yeah, these are really cool. Like I said, Ryan will be talking about Amaro for a bit for us. Like I said, as you know, we're making 3 cocktails for this. But the first thing first thing I'd like us all to do, if we can, is pour yourself a little bit of the Amaro on its own. And then go ahead and give it a smell and give it a taste. And so just so you know what it's like on its own, because you're gonna have it, in these 3 cocktails soon. But just to give it a little taste on its own so you can try it.
And I'm doing an experiment. I have a half a bottle of Amaro that's about 3 years old open. So I'm going to check them both out, which is always fun.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Amaros do taste different. This one, I get a lot of, you definitely get that like gentian kind of herbaceous rootiness, earthiness up front. Then some nice like sweet orange, a little bit of orange zest in there too to bring some nice vibrancy. And that sweetness really balances out that bitterness up front. Not all Amaros do that. Some are, that super bitter throughout. And so you just get that aggressive kind of bite. This one, since it is a little softer on the end, that's part of the reason why I picked it to do these cocktails with, because I figured that sweetness and that roundness on the back end will definitely allow it to play in a cocktail really well. And the 3 cocktails we chose for this, I did get from Amaro Montenegro's website themselves. So these are the 3 cocktails that the Montenegro brand suggests that you do. There's a couple others on there, but these are the 3 that I found most interesting. And since I'm a huge fan of Negronis, I picked I picked the Montenegroni because I like that profile. So I'm excited to see what it does with the Amaro. Monte Mule, that's just a classic. Everybody does the variations of the mule. You have your dark and stormy. If you're going to go with rum, you have your Moscow. If you're going to go with a vodka, So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, and I just think this is a fun one to try with the Montenegro. And then Manhattan, same thing. I'm a big fan of Manhattans. I actually make this one a good amount with Montenegro, so I wanted to share it with y'all because it's one that I make on a regular basis for myself. But with all that being said, allow me to introduce to you Ryan Younkers. He is our host for the night. So Ryan, thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me, Jeremy. Appreciate it. So I am, like Jeremy said, I'm a sales rep. So, and, I get to see them all the time. The supplier couldn't make it, so I'm happily stepped in. What I'd like to, first of all, I can't tell how many people are here. It could be 100 or 10, but I really appreciate the wine country, and just kind of, I was thinking about that, last night, and just about every time I walk in is just when, to call them like a retail store, as all if you're, know the wine country, is how awesome they are, that nothing goes in there without them tasting it. It has to, fit something for what they're looking for. And it's really refreshing to have a place like that. So it's, I appreciate, the invitation, and super happy to be here. So Amaro, as Jeremy was saying, it's absolutely steeped in history. Doing some research on Amaro, for me, what Jeremy also alluded to was what kind of gets me going. This is what I do for a living, with all kinds of spirits, wine, beers, sodas, all kinds of things. The historical aspect, I love to tie things in, and there's always a reason for, maybe grappa came about because the guys, were making wine, distilled the leftovers of the winemaking process. So, some things like that, just little notes and things, kind of make me remember it, make me enjoy it more, and to see how things evolve through history. In touching on Amaro, and reading about it, it's the basic definition is distilled, or it's actually everything you can imagine, roots, herbs, bark, citrus, everything that grows around you, everything that's come from another continent, you could use. So it could be either with brandy, it could be with wine, like vermouth is considered an Amaro, and it's wine-based, or neutral grain spirits. So essentially, there's the Greeks added herbs and honey, or other things to their wine. So I guess technically that could be Amaro. And the what we have today, as far as the wines we drink or the spirits we have, is so much more elevated. It's been about 200 years, or the containers for glass to keep wine in totally changed wine. But the Romans loved Burgundy as well, so it had to have something there, even comparatively to other areas, to make it really unique. Nowadays, just with the process and the refining, that kind of stuff, it just made it all that much more special. So it's really kind of cool with that. So yeah, just researching it, I now believe that Amaro was possibly the first drink, or maybe a very common drink as well. So what we have today with Amaro, as we know, it's basically from the 19th century. It's just maceration with, like I said, there's a whole list of everything. Everything's a secret as well. They'll give you a list of maybe 20 ingredients, and they use 40. Then they have another secret ingredient. So I would love to, when you're doing the tasting notes, Jeremy came up with some things. You can't go wrong, because they're not what's in it or whatever. But some of the things they did say was in here was marjoram, coriander seeds, cinnamon, cloves, orange peel, things like that kind of actually stand out, which is kind of fun. And it's fun to taste this. A lot of times I'll just come home, especially prepping for this. I didn't do much reading, but I did a lot of mixing. As far as came home, threw some ice in a glass and threw some Amaro in there, and it was awesome. So it was like, it's a really kind of a fun thing. So we have Amaro Montenegro. And so this was 1885, and it was actually started 1884, I think, and it was changed to Amaro Montenegro in 1885. And it was Princess Elena of Montenegro married the prince of the Italian, what was his name? Anyway, a local prince in that area, was soon to be king of Italy. So they changed the name to her. One of my favorite quotes reading about her is, she did not stifle the spontaneity of characters and personalities. So total classic 1880s, talking about someone that everyone looked up to. So it was kind of a fun little read, learning about the history of Montenegro. And trying other Montenegros as well. I really think this is a classic Montenegro because it is baseline. It's like the baby bear of the Montenegro, I mean, of the Amaros. We have so many just in our portfolio, and they range, they're so vastly different as well. Amaros, just as a general category, that could go one way or the other. Some drink, some might be great for this drink, but not might be a little lack some others. But this one is great. It's across the board. It mixes well with a lot of things. So we talked about what they use. In my opinion, things were I guess everybody made smaller communities, so it wasn't like big distillation brands or things like that. So there would be families that would do this, and maybe this is particularly started in Bologna, and so there could have been a bunch of families in there, and then these guys gained respectability having a great Amaro, and that's how these great brands really kind of developed over time. Is they were just known in that area as being the greatest, and really stood out, and the family kind of gained prestige, secret recipes, all this formulation and stuff, which is really kind of fun. It's a great way to do it. I always think, being in California preparedness, we should all have like a brewing kit, lots of alcohol, and just for that, because back in the day that everyone knew a brewer. Right now we're getting close. There's a lot of breweries around, but same kind of attitude. I think it's more localized, and that's what I believe how stuff like this came about, as far as gaining reputation and gaining a name. The process of Amaro is pretty interesting as well. Montenegro Amaros is, they start out with 40 botanicals, and it's just like everything you can imagine. Eucalyptus, vanilla, orange peel. There's herbs, spices, marjoram, thyme, all kinds of things that they'll list, or that you could think of. But they use 40. They boil, maceration, and distillation. So some they use with boiling water, some they use with actually distilled using a neutral green spirits. And this is a bottle of neutral green spirits that I happen to have. I'm gonna do this. See me. Whoops. Oh, there you go. So this is kind of interesting too. So this is 96% alcohol. It's something that you can't really find out here. I got this probably 15 to 20 years ago. I got a whole case, and I believe it was shipped here by mistake. And I haven't seen anything since with this kind of alcohol content. And I've used all of them mostly to make limoncello. And what's good about neutral grain spirits is you want to start out with something with a huge amount of alcohol, very, very, very high proof, because what you're going to do is add herbs and spices and all that stuff. And at the end result, you're going to, water it down and kind of get it to what you need. So you're starting with a very concentrated extracts and stuff. But Montenegro starts off with 40 botanicals. They kind of divide those up, do them in different size pot stills, different boiling pots. They take those into 12 different extracts, and basically they have these big bowls, kind of as a representation of what they do. So they take those 12 extracts and they make 6 aromatic notes out of those. And then they combine for different degrees to make the Amaro. And my favorite part, and I believe very Italian part, then they add what's called the El Premio, which is the 7th and final secret. Absolutely won't, tell anybody what it is. They kind of go in the corner, hide from everybody, and have this concoction and come out with this elixir that's very concentrated. And they say they use just a drop. 1 liter for every 15,000 liters is what they use with that extract. So it's a very highly concentrated. And the Il Premio is a micro distillation of 5 unique botanicals. That is so intense that only a single drop is used. So it's kind of like a magical blend. Jeremy mentioned how actually his physicians back in the day who started this, and it was monasteries and physicians that once distillation became popular, not only were they the ones kind of the pioneers with the wine for the most part, but with distillation as well. And that's the kind of doctor I would want to go to, actually, because the other alternatives of what the other doctors might be suggesting. I'll go ahead and stick with some Amaro. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a better turnoff than the doctors you go to now. They're like, you need to stop, you need to drink a little less. You're like, but it used to be healthy back in the day. What happened?
Yeah, exactly. I'll have fun with that.
Only for medicinal purposes.
Exactly. Yeah, just like prohibition and bourbon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And that's a lot of wineries made wine just for the church and things like that kept going.
Exactly.
So when you think about it, back in the day when 20 families are doing this, using their own concoction of botanicals, and obviously this is the 1800s, they have access to a lot of spices and things like that, but it has to be regular, access. So a lot of local stuff as well, but when, there's you could use the world's, the limit. So many different things were came into use and were found, and it's, to me, it's great to know that so much hard work, dedication went into this bottle, and there's such an intense, mind-blowing process to get it down, exact methods to go from 40 to 12 extracts to 6, to mix it perfectly and add 1 drop of Il Premium. So basically that's the process. They actually going back with the 6 extracts, the 6 aromatic notes, they do sweet like clove, cinnamon, nutmeg. They give examples of some things that they use for the sweet aspect. The citrusy, of course, we're doing bitter and sweet oranges and things like that. So it's kind of fun to, they take all those different tasting notes and, make those tasting notes by these herbs and spices and bark and everything they have around, and kind of concentrate it and come up with an awesome recipe.
So speaking of recipes, let's how about we move to that first drink we're gonna make?
Oh, you're gonna do that already? I have about 6 more pages. Okay, cool. So I was never a bartender. I've always been on the sales side, but I've played around a lot, and I always have a little bag with me. It's my camping bag. That's awesome. So just everybody get one of these.
Oh yeah, man. Actually, one of my first gifts after I turned 21 was that from a friend. Not that specific one, but a bar kit pack like that. It was cool until I lost it. But
oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I go camping,
great for camping too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, when I go camping, all I drink is items to mix cocktails. I have this in my roll bag. I have my backpack. I never need to bring food, never need to bring water. I always have some.
Why would you? Why would you?
Awesome.
Right on. So yeah, we're gonna start with the Montenegroni. So that's the first one on the list that you all have. So for this one, you'll need Montenegro, an ounce of sweet vermouth, an ounce of gin, and then a couple of dashes of Angostura bitters. And the fun part about all these drinks, we've made a couple of drinks in the past for our our gin cocktail one where you had to shake it up. Since none of these really have any fresh citrus in it besides the mule, which you don't need to shake. You're just going to be able to stir these, so you don't need like a full cocktail shaker, like this. Well, you can't really see it because of my blurred background, but a cocktail shaker, you don't need that for sure. You can just use a glass if that's all you have. You don't need a strainer top. You can just have another glass to kind of cover it up with. But yeah, that's one of the advantages of doing the stirred cocktails versus shaken cocktails, in my opinion, is that it's a lot easier to find two things to stir in and pour out of, instead of finding like something that seals for sure that you can shake with. But yeah, so for this one, good idea to start with ice in whatever you're going to be stirring in.
Vermouth.
All right, and yeah, you can just go along with I usually like to do it smallest ounces to biggest ounces, but since Montenegro is a little sweeter, I'll probably finish with that and do the gin, I'll do the gin last, so the booze cuts out all the extra syrup that's in, not syrup, but anything that's clinging to the measurer.
Oops.
Yeah, and the great thing about this is we're all using Montenegro Amaro, but we may have different items, different gin. The quality of the ingredients is definitely the only way to start. That's what your end result's going to be, and you could cater to your own what you like, which I think is great. You could be your own person. You could do your own thing. You come up with your own drink. You could add just a couple half ounce of something else that's off the wall and make your own drink. It's a lot of fun to do this. And every one of our drinks, if we use different gin, it'd be different. If we use a different vermouth, it would be different. So that's kind of a fun thing as well. I'll go. We all mixing?
So yeah, go ahead and mix at your all's pleasure. Getting my vermouth in right now. Ounce of vermouth. And so yeah, 2 ounces of Montenegro is going to be one of your little 50 mLs plus about a quarter of the other one. So 4 should cover everything we're making tonight, including that little taste we had.
That is delicious.
Going all out. I'm using a Navy strength gin. First drink of the day. And
Ryan, I'm joining you on that one.
oh yeah, right, great. How would I have figured?
Can I start drinking if I've got mine done?
Oh yeah, if you're done, go ahead and start enjoying, please. Let us know what you think. Again, like feel free to speak out, or if you want to type out whatever you want to say, please. We love interaction.
It is delicious.
Yeah.
This is really good. This is really good.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, Negroni is one of my favorite drinks. That and the Boulevardier, which is just the whiskey rye version of a Negroni. So I was intrigued to try this to see what the Montenegro does with it. So I haven't had it in this form before. So always nice to find new twists on some of your favorite drinks, I believe.
Yeah.
Now this one's called Agroni.
So typically a Negroni, yes, it will be gin with, instead of Montenegro, you'd use more of a aperitif. So like Aperol is the typical one that people use. Then you still use the sweet vermouth and the dashes of bitter. So the difference in this one is instead of using an aperitif, we're using the Amaro Montenegro. And yeah, it just changes the profile a little bit, I believe. Let me see real quick. I haven't tried it myself. But usually with the Aperol or the aperitif you're using, It's a lot sharper. You typically get a little bit more of those citrusy notes comparatively.
And the whole deal with the stirring and shaking type of deal, I think the part of the stirring, I think the most important part is you actually want a little bit of dilution. So you stir for a bit, and shaking serves the same purpose. And thing with shaking actually mixes up a lot of the ingredients as well, and it adds some viscosity. But stirring, they usually say like maybe 30 seconds would be a good time to stir as a general rule. Not only do you want it to be cold, but you want a little bit of the dilution as well. So it depends on the size of your ice cubes and all that kind of stuff. But of course, this is your drink. You're making it. Do your own thing. Make your own. Have a blast. That's the best part of it. There's no wrong way to do it.
Exactly. When you're your own bartender, you get to do whatever you want, and then that way you enjoy the drink. But the main difference I would say between like this style of the Montenegro Negroni versus your typical Negroni is this one has a little bit more of a like fall winter feel to it, because it has more of those warming kind of spices. That's the clove, it's the different kind of spices that they use in the Amaro Montenegro, compared to those like citrusy and vibrant notes that you get in something like an Aperol or another aperitif, which is for me is more of like a spring summertime drink. So this is definitely more. This might be because, like I said, I do it with whiskey, which is called a Boulevardier. But I might start doing it more with the Montenegro, because it definitely has more of that kind of wintry feel to it.
Yeah, blends really well, but also you could pick out a lot of different flavors to it as it's really fun.
Yeah, one thing I like, it works with the gin well, is it pulls out a little bit more of those citrus notes, at least to me, from the Montenegro itself, the Amaro Montenegro. You had some really nice like orange zest, softer, sweeter flavors in there when you tried it on your own, but then with the gin in there, I think it helps a little bit of that vibrancy with those citrus notes.
And nothing's overwhelming. They all complement each other, which is really fun as well.
Yeah, that's always a trick. Not trick. That's always a goal in a cocktail. Is to make sure that everything balances out. Sometimes with experimental ones, it doesn't work, but I mean, there's a reason why why Amaro Montenegro put this on their website, is because they've probably tried it a bunch of times and they really enjoy it. So,
yeah.
I just drank some of the Montenegro by itself, just
Yeah.
a little bit, see what it tastes like. It's just delicious.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could see this going into a warm drink, like a coffee or something. Or
I imagine it'd do well in a hot toddy. I think I actually saw a recipe on their website, on the Montenegro website, for a hot toddy as well. So,
yeah,
definitely.
okay.
Yeah.
Ryan, it was funny when you were mentioning the secret recipe of Montenegro. I do remember that at one of the sit down meetings we used to have when I was working with Wine Warehouse, where they had a rep from Montenegro show up, and he was talking about how there's 2 individuals in the world who know it. So it's kind of like Coca-Cola. There's 2 individuals in the world who know the full secrets, and they pass it down to the next one until that person retires, and then they ship them off on an island so they can't talk to anybody, and then they're stuck there.
Definitely sworn to secrecy and all that, but that's
exactly
part of it as well. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm just really enjoying this drink.
Yeah, and the fun thing with as Ryan mentioned, when you mix it, talking about dilution, another part of dilution is with the ice that you already have in your glass. And with this one, I don't have a whole lot of ice in the glass itself, but just a little bit, like during our conversation of this, and just a little bit of time it's had to dilute, the more spice notes are coming out, at least on my end. And that's just one of those real fun things that with cocktails you can see the difference from the beginning to the end. It's part of dilution, part of your mouth part of your taste buds getting used to the flavor and profile too. It starts looking for other things, and with something like a Montenegro, there's plenty to find. Over 40, or at least 40 ingredients. So there's definitely some fun stuff to find in there.
Yeah.
And that's one prop.
And when those ingredients mix, you get a whole different set of flavors as well. So it's, you know, whatever you taste, change as you drink it.
It's really tasty. I like this one.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I like it.
Nice.
And I used a little bit of a not as sweet vermouth. It's kind of a base, a little darker. Actually, it really goes well. I have some other bitters as well that are more Amaro like, even though Amaros are technically, or bitters could be Amaros as well. One of the things that
Amaro? What does Amaro mean? What does Amaro mean?
Yeah, Amaro is the liquor that's made from using, and it's just all these different botanicals, herbs, you know, bark, different things to make a drink. But with bitters, it's basically the same stuff they're using, but it's not as palatable. And that's what the definition I saw, where bitters, that what distinguishes this is you can't really drink these on their own. Like, this is so lovely. You could just put this in with some glass and drink it on its own. You could add a little bit of soda water or something, or any kind of creative soda, and have some fun with it. But this one, if you pour this in a glass, it'd be really challenging. So concentrated.
Like taking just a little bit of that elixir that they add at the end and just trying to take that on your taste buds alone.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's done it.
Is
there
bitters that go in with this?
Sorry, Deborah, what was that?
Are there other bitters that would go in with this as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think like an orange bitters would work well with this because then it'll just pull out more of those citrus notes. You know, for this one, we're just using the aromatic bitters from Angostura, which is a great one. But yeah, I mean, bitters are so many different worlds of there. So, I mean, you know, there's coffee bitters out there, there's chocolate bitters, there's almost any kind of flavor profile you could think of. There's a bitter for it as well. So really whatever your profile would look for, but I think like a orange bitters would definitely go well with this. I would say even like a chocolate bitters, if you want to get more of those kind of darker flavors out of this one, you can definitely do like a chocolate bitters too. That could pull out a little bit more of the sweetness that this, you know, you get a little bit of the sweetness kind of on the mouth, on the side of the palate, at least I do, and a little bit more rounder kind of finish. I think if you had like a chocolate bitters, that would pull that out a little bit more.
Yeah, and Angostura is actually the classic bitter, I guess, in most recipes. So it's a you know, another standard of where to start with bitters. Wow, tasty.
Nice, yeah. Right on. So, gonna be 100% honest with you all that are here because we're all close friends since we're drinking together. The next one is a little bit of an experiment. So we're not gonna do the Monte Mule. We're gonna actually finish with that one. We're gonna do the Manhattan next. And the reason why this is a bit of an experiment is because we are using the Balcones rye. Now, some of you were on the Balcones tasting that we did. The rye, as you know, is very expressive. It's got a lot of big flavors to it, a lot of rich notes, a lot of like really hearty flavors to it. You know, one of my tasting notes I have for it at the store is tastes like Mexican mole in a bottle, because you get that dark chocolate, you get the clove, you get the cinnamon, you get those really big flavors that you can get in a mole, but you know, just liquid form. So I'm intrigued to see what it does with the Montenegro. Because I think that sweetness that the Montenegro has, you know, those citrusy flavors that the orange brings it, could really pull out some interesting flavors with the Balcones rye. One of the, last year, one of the articles I wrote actually involved working with Chinar, which is another Amaro, which is a rhubarb based, not rhubarb, artichoke based, no. Why am I missing?
Which one?
Chinar. Why am I blanking on what's that based?
Yeah, that's artichoke.
It is artichoke. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so artichoke's one of the main flavors in Chinar. and it's super earthy, really like gritty kind of flavor. I made that with the Balcones rye, and it just brought out all these herbaceous, spicy flavors to it. So it's something that's a little sweeter and not as herbaceous with the Amaro Montenegro. I'm looking forward to see what that kind of profile is like. So yeah, that will be the next one we're making. So the third one on your list, we're kind of going in different order here. But the third one on the list is the next one you'll be making, which is super easy because it's just the Montenegro, some rye, and some Angostura bitters. So the easiest one on the list, I would say, because it's three steps.
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah, right. So one of the classes we did last year, or one of the Zoom events we did last year, excuse me, was with gin, and all of them were three-step cocktails. It's super easy. Add this, shake, or add this, stir. So it's fun. These are also kind of in that realm because everybody thinks like, oh, mixologists have to do all these cool like different things. Like honestly, you just mix a couple things together, shake it up. If you enjoy it, that's all it is. And especially if you're using such expressive bases like these, like the Amaro Montenegro, like the Balcones rye. You don't need to add all this other stuff because these things have such flavors and such depth to them on their own that you can just roll with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely the key, I think, as well, is just have fun with it, and it's not that difficult. And these are great, ingredients, recipes, which is awesome because you can deviate a little bit and see what you can do. Or not, just come up with the perfect cocktail.
That's quick.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, Ryan, what rye are you using for this? Just out of curiosity.
I'm using pepper.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
James E. Pepper.
Yeah, that is another whiskey that we carry at the store. Definitely got more of the classic kind of rye profile to it. You get those more floral aspects to it. Softer kind of caraway in there as well, but definitely more of that very traditional, like big rye flavors, but very well balanced as well.
Yeah, and if I can make another statement here to call Jeremy out, when I'm sitting with him and I try to sit with him maybe once a week and taste things with him, this is how he talks when he's tasting just about everything, and that's just that goes with the with the wine country does. I think is they love it, but they actually understand it, and think Jeremy you see the wheels moving and what he's going to do with it, and how this is going to work, and this will go with this, and I just said James E. Pepper 1776, and he had a bunch of straight tasty notes for it, so that's awesome.
Well, hey man, those tasting notes that are on the shelves are all written by us. So I have to know some of these things off the top of my head.
Exactly. Yeah, you do well.
I also took from a previous tasting that Jeremy did. Little rye from a past kit that maybe you guys were on.
Awesome. Yeah, a couple people were on the Laws Whiskey one too. Yeah.
And we did.
Ooh, okay. Infuse makes some cool stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too. That's delicious.
Amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
What's the proof on the whiskey you're doing, Jeremy?
So Balcones is 100 proof.
Okay, cool. So at least we're on this same.
Yeah, same proof style. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to get some Negroni. So I will definitely, it's on my list as we speak. I already put it on. So I like it. It's well with it.
All right, let's see.
This is great. I love it.
Ooh, the nose on that's really fun.
Yeah. I love these cherries as well. I mean, obviously.
Luxardo, yeah.
This cherry, I always kind of drip. Yeah, I always drip a little extra juice in there.
For sure, yeah.
I have some cherries.
We were saying how you could do like a whiskey sour.
A whiskey sour? Yeah.
Adding to this a little egg white and like in a coupe.
Yeah. Egg white, little lemon, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I use the juice from this to make a cherry whiskey sour. It's really good. This is the Woodford, the camera, come on, camera.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't want focus, but this is the Woodford Reserve bourbon cherries.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I use that and I use some of the juice from this and I make a cherry whiskey sour. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
My girlfriend's a big fan of the cherry. So anytime I make her a cocktail, like usually Manhattan or something like that, I definitely add a little bit of the syrup into it too, with a couple extra cherries, because she eats them on their own anyways. Which she admitted to me. She like told me one day, I was just like I was in the kitchen moving some stuff around. She's like, so I need to tell you something. I'm like, okay, this is a odd way to just jump into this conversation. She's like, I'm eating some of your cherries on their own. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's a jar of cherries in the fridge, and I'm just eating some of them at times. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, I'm not gonna get through all those, so thank you for that help.
Yeah, I do the same thing. They're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good. I've tried to make my own. I failed miserably, but I did try to make
Oh.
my own. And I tried to make them from dried, where so they would soak up all the bourbon.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out.
Well, props for you for trying, man. That's impressive. I just buy them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they're okay. They used to be like $9 a bottle, but now with everything with prices rising, it's like $12 for a jar of this stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. A necessary expense though.
Very necessary expense. But if you could make it during the season when cherries are available out of organic cherries on top of it, it would be like so much better.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
That's awesome.
So I gotta say, with the balcones, I mean, a lot more of those earthy kind of notes come out. This actually reminds me a little bit of the Chinar article I did, where I made a cocktail with the balcones and the Chinar, because as aggressive, or not aggressive, excuse me, as expressive as the balcones is with those earthy kind of flavors, with the Amaro, it pulls out even more of those. So you get that kind of like sorely earthiness to it, at least in my tasting. But then you get a lot of like dark chocolate on the finish, and that big richness kind of just like warms you up a little bit. These are all like nice warming drinks so far.
Definitely a lot of dark. I get a lot of dark chocolate on this, and it would go great with a cigar where you get the chocolate flavor also, which is a lot of old cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I may have another one of these tonight, just to confess.
Claire here tasting.
Oh. Well, I'm happy about this one. Like I said, this was a little bit of an experiment. I just wanted to try it out, but I'm glad it worked out nicely. How's it taste with the James E. Pepper, Ryan?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's super tasty. Really kind of unique, but familiar as well. There's a lot of, which is kind of a fun in a drink, mixing the different things. But yeah, it's blended very nicely.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny because I love this rye so much.
Yeah.
And I always drink it straight because I didn't want to like sacrifice it and mix it with something else. But this is so good.
Yeah. And I mean, it has enough flavor on its own where, you don't really need to mix it. It's so expressive on its own that just throwing that ice cube in there alone will open up some other aromatics and everything too. So, it is fun to find something that doesn't overtake it at anything or anything away from the rye, which is part of the reason, again, why we picked to work with Amaro Montenegro, is because of that expressiveness that it has without being overpowering in any sense. Like, a lot of people, at least a lot of people in the industry, when they think Amaro off the top of their head, they first think of Fernet, and Fernet's a good Amaro, don't get me wrong, but it is so aggressive that like I think it would pull away from this way too much. Where again, that richness and sweetness that the Montenegro has plays really well with those bigger, bolder flavors of the rye. Where since Fernet is such a big, bold Amaro in its own, that it would just wash away, or maybe even butt heads with the rye itself.
Yeah, these two, they like shake hands together nicely. This is great.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because Amaro, there's a lot of things you probably wouldn't work with, but the things that it does work with just is, remarkable.
Mhm.
Mix.
And that's one of the fun things with the Amaro is that there are so many options. There's so many. It's such an open world that you can try so many different ones and find which ones work with which cocktails you like. Something like the Montenegro, since it is it has expressive flavors, but it is so balanced and soft. You can do a lot with it. But I mean, you can almost make it like a monthly trip if you wanted to find a new Amaro, make a couple cocktails with it, like make even the same cocktails and just figure out which ones work better with what. And that's the fun. I mean, that's the fun part of making your own drinks. The fun part of like experimenting with your own stuff is to see what you can do that's going to be a little different.
Yeah, that's a blast. You could create your own stuff too, which is fun. Just add one ingredient and you just made something that no one else has done.
Exactly.
Sure,
yeah.
Don't dive too deep in the the internet, but it's yours, which is fun. A great thing.
Oh yeah,
I like to call it mad scientist in the kitchen.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah, as long as you take a picture, put it on Instagram, it's yours. You claim it at that point. So
it goes Instagram. Yeah.
Well, this came out pretty in this 19. Let's see if I can get it in the camera. I have to. Okay, this is my blurred background. There we go. I have to put it in front of me. So this came out pretty in this 1950s glass that I have like maybe one or two of that my mother decided to give me because she thought they might be valuable, and I'm certain they're not. But it's just this. To me, this looks like something you serve ice cream sherbet in, but it worked out perfect for this.
Looks like a coupe glass. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I like to collect the odds and ends,
There's something to you.
Yeah, well, I like to collect the odds and ends of people too, as friends. So,
And I'm gonna have some cheese. I went with an Italian. Just on a side note, I always think it's better to have a little something to chew on. I got a lot of
what cheese? Which cheese? Because I'm reading this. Which cheese?
butter and Asiago.
Asiago?
To me, it's a little like on the stinky realm, but it's definitely not French.
Jeremy, you should have told us we were going to have cheese with us.
I didn't know we were having cheese with it.
No, I was trying to figure out what the food pairing was. Like, what can I? Yeah, I'm looking on my phone at the same time while Ryan's talking. I'm trying to find a food pairing, so it would have been helpful to have a food pairing.
I always go Italian. If we're drinking something Italian, go Italian. I don't think there's ever a bad move in that. I think like either crackers or cheese or something to kind of break it up. Always, that's what it does.
Cheese is always appropriate. I can get my. I'm
a little.
Either fatty. Romano.
Yeah.
No, too strong.
Something with some saltiness would definitely work. Like a Manchego Spanish, but like a little pecorino would work well. I think something with some saltiness to balance out the earthiness on the drink, or like the sweetness of the drink, would work really well.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I thought that too. When I was about it, I didn't really want anything sweet because Amaro has that sweet aspect to it.
Exactly.
Okay, not my cheese.
It's like wine fatty and
so Manchego it is.
There you go. Yeah.
Right out.
You all keep inspiring me. I keep like running off to go get something else. Just grab some cheese out of my fridge.
Me too. I ran upstairs to my cigar lounge to grab this baby. Rather than you never know when you're going to need a little bottle of fry.
Yeah. Or Manchego, which is always good.
You guys aren't letting me in your store ever again.
Always have them available.
Exactly. Always a good call to have a little extra rye and Manchego just ready to go in the fridge.
There you go.
And a good cigar. It's like, come on, you got to round it out.
Can't go wrong with either.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, that was tasty. That was really surprising,
That's good. It's good. It's a win.
Nice.
Jeremy for the win. Manchego and what do we call this? The Monte Manhattan.
Monte Manhattan. All right. Nice notes. I'll make sure to add that to the description on the website.
Yeah.
Goes great with Manchego.
Yeah.
There you
Mhm.
The Manchego Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly.
Triple
That's
M.
a tongue twister. You have to pass the tongue twister test.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Mhm.
So out of the 2 cocktails we've had so far, what has been y'all's favorite? It sounds like Pat and Deborah, y'all were big fans of the Manhattan.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna try the other one again and let's see.
All right.
Because now I have the cheese.
That's right.
The whole time I drank the first one, I kept thinking to myself, how's this going to pair with a whiskey? And honestly, I love gin. Don't get me wrong, because I love gin. But gin is a summer drink, and somehow I wasn't connecting this with gin. And so the whole time I'm drinking this one, first drink, I'm thinking, how's this going to go with whiskey? And when you said, oh, we're going to jump ahead, I'm like, sweet. Because that's what really pairs well.
I actually like them both.
All right, all right, yeah.
Yeah, they're both good.
Yeah. I see Laura add in the notes here that she always loves Manhattan, so it sounds like that one took the lead on that then. You know, I mean, yeah, if you go with the favorite and you find a mixture that works well as a favorite, then yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing with the gin because I'm a gin connoisseur, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be like it. But number 2 got me. So yeah, I don't know. They're both great though. And with the added cherry. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta add the cherry, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the cherry makes it. It really does. I get it. Because I ate mine. You know, it's like I just fish them out and eat them. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you gotta let them absorb a little bit of the cocktail, and then you know, fish them out and eat them. You gotta make sure it has a little bit of everything. Yeah. That's like at the store we sell. Most of y'all probably seen them, but the dehydrated garnishes that we sell, there's oranges, limes, and lemons. Over in like the mixer section of our spirits department. I love putting those in cocktails because those, I mean, since they are dehydrated, they literally just plump up with all the booze you're taking care of. So like at the end of the drink, you just have this little bit of orange or a little bit of lemon that you can just like bite into and just absorb a little bit more of that cocktail. And you're eating something, so it's healthy.
There you go.
Okay, now how about limes? Do limes dehydrate well?
Yeah, we do have limes as well. Yeah, limes dehydrate. I mean, they're a lot smaller. They don't look as nice as the lemons and the oranges do. They're
Right.
not as
They don't
pretty
present
looking.
well.
Yeah, but they still
Well,
work.
I have a dehydrator because I'm kind of nuts about gadgets, but I have a dehydrator and I've dehydrated like stuff and not wanted to eat it afterwards, but to soak it up with liquor. Now that's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I tried that with the cherries and it didn't turn out that great. They just all gooed together. But
I can see that being a challenge, dehydrating those.
yeah, but dehydrated tomatoes, the freaking bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those.
Put in for
You know, there's a vodka. I don't carry it at the store, but there's one I can think of called Square One. They have a basil vodka. Very, very good flavors. I think that would go great with some dehydrated tomatoes. Just because that basil tomato acidity works really well.
Yeah, that would be
Best Bloody Mary you can ever make, I swear, is with Square One basil.
Oh,
It also goes really great on. They have little 50 mls. So, you know, if you got a morning flight, you just order a little spicy V8 on the plane.
Mhm.
Not saying here or there. We don't do that's illegal, but I'm just saying.
I never do anything illegal. Never.
Fantastic with a Bloody Mary to go.
Well, you know, I've always been making them with that jalapeno vodka from Stoli, which is, you know, that's like gut rot vodka, but it's like the jalapeno.
Yeah.
It is nice. So this is good to know. Good tip. Thank you, Kelly.
Right on. So since we are getting into the springtime and the summertime, that's part of the reason why I wanted to finish off with this one, because it's a little lighter, you know, gets us a little into that warmer weather. These last 2 cocktails, as delicious as they are, definitely to me at least, have more of wintertime, fall time feel to them, maybe because the spices are a little bit more expressive in these two. But I feel like with the ginger beer and with the lime citrus, it's going to be a little lighter, a little bit more fun, or a little bit brighter kind of flavor profile. We'll get a little bit more of those citrus notes, but gonna be 100% honest, this is my first time making this one as well, so we can all find out together, team. So now we're gonna make the Monte Mule, another super simple one. You got 2 ounces of the Montenegro, you got 3 ounces of your ginger beer, and then a nice ounce of that lime juice to kind of just pop it up with some citrus. This one you can shake if you like, since it does have the fresh lime juice, but stirring also works totally fine.
Okay.
So I just met these two today. So I'm gonna
Oh yeah,
use-
the new double Dutch, yeah.
Yeah. It's two Dutch twins came up with their own, used it as their college thesis, and started a company. And it's been 7 years now, and they're awesome.
Wait, that was their college
That when I
thesis?
went to college.
Yeah, so it's what they did. I know they did it for their college and went to England and started their company, and they got funding for it and everything. So it's awesome. They're super energetic. It's obviously you just brought them in because they just hit the United States this week. So like the second day they were available, they showed up to your place. Pretty fun, but I learned the difference between ginger ale and ginger beer, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it's a legal term, or I don't know how it's enforced, but typically ginger beer is fermented ginger. Ginger ale is basically a soda with ginger added to it.
Okay.
Interesting. So this one will make you sneeze and cough because it is so sharp, and this one is more like a ginger ale that everyone pretty much knows. But
Easy to drink and light, yeah.
But we have beers that are not brewed.
Soda with ginger.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned. So that was their thesis, because I went to the University of Louisville. Go Cars, very proud. But I recently found out over the last couple of years that they now have a distilling program there where you can learn how to become a distiller.
Really?
Yeah, a whiskey distiller, a bourbon distiller, which I am kind of sad, but also very happy that wasn't there when I was there, because I definitely would have stayed in Louisville for another like 5, or it wouldn't take me 5 years, but however long it would have taken to get that master's program in, which would have been a good thing because I love Louisville. It's a great city. But then I also would have come back home. So, it's that balance of like timelines of things, but sliding door effect, like what if it was available when I was there? But yeah, when I found out the University of Louisville had a master's program for distilling, I was like,
Sweetness, wow.
maybe time to go back to school.
Artificial.
Maybe I
Awesome.
should retire there.
You need low calorie. ginger.
Second job distilling. I don't know. I'm a very scientific person. Work.
I was excited.
Mm.
All right.
I think I love cigars first. So
Perfect glass.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't.
Woo.
I told you
Yeah.
I'm nuts about collecting weird glasses. So
That's the most unreal.
I've got them all here. I've got all the weird stuff here. It's like I'm loving this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say that new Montenegro glass too is gonna be a nice little addition to that.
Absolutely. And that all of my glasses now, I'm sure my family thinks I'm a complete alcoholic because all of my glasses are all now souvenir glasses from breweries and whatever. There are no pint glasses. But you know what? If they want to judge me, that's their problem, not mine.
Exactly. Very true, Pat.
Huh. It's interesting. It has 3 ounces of ginger beer. You know what I mean?
This
Well,
is-
on the website, on the Montenegro website, it said 2 parts Montenegro, 3 parts ginger beer. So I just went with ounces because parts, everybody's got different size parts. So just making it all one size makes it easy.
Yeah.
3 ounces and 2 ounces.
What was the question?
Sorry, Deb?
3 ounces ginger.
3 ounces ginger, 2 ounces Montenegro.
And then a couple of dashes
Yeah.
of Angostura.
Huh. Wow, that's bright.
Couple of dashes of what?
The bitters that was in the package.
That's right.
That's
That
not,
goes in,
that is not on your.
That's not- it is not on the list.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, you found out, man.
Well, the bitters was in the package, so you should have gotten the bitters with the cocktail with everything else.
We did, but it doesn't say under Moscow, Moscow,
On the rest-
on the Montenegro.
Oh, that is true. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I went to the third one because we were on the third cocktail. That was my fault. Don't add Amaro.
Oh, I just added it.
Don't
You
add
add
bitters.
Yeah.
You know what's genetic?
Add bitters.
I just did. You know what? One of my favorite drinks is my go-to when I come home because I love bourbon and ginger. That's just one of my favorites. I do bourbon and ginger, add some Amaro, and just kind of and a cherry, and I have that drink a lot. That's probably my go at home drink, which is very close. We're skirting around that.
Yeah. And yeah, this totally seems like more my kind of happy when I think of things and they kind of go the way I thought they would. But this one definitely has more of that spring, summertime feel to it because those citrus notes really are expressive. Like, get a lot more of those kind of characteristics on this one. Still get that nice earthiness from the Amaro. Like, you get a little bit of that bitterness, but like the ginger works well with that. Doesn't overtake any of that that expressiveness, excuse me. But then, yeah, the citrus notes I feel like get highlighted this time compared to our other two cocktails where they were a little bit more of the secondary characteristics.
We're agreeing. It's our favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, this is real summer.
Jeremy,
Yes, ma'am.
why is citrusy a spring note since citrus actually comes off in the fall, winter?
That is a great question, Deborah. It is because most citrus cocktails happen during the summer. Lemonade, you think of lemonade, you think of limeade. Like, you think of anything in the summertime, it's always a citrus thing, at least to me. Like, I always think, maybe it's because I'm from Southern California and we always have sun and it's always citrus around here. But yes, citrus is a winter harvest, but it uses a lot more in the summer, in my opinion, or in the spring than actually is in the winter. So just for me, it has a little bit more of that summer feel to it. I could be wrong, but that's just how it feels to me when I'm drinking this. This is more
It has a lighter flare. It has a lighter
exactly.
flare.
Yeah,
Do
like
that.
when you're sitting by a pool, do you want something that's going to be nice and light or something that's going to be a little heavier and like richer? Like, I feel like the nice and light lets you sit out in the sun a little bit more and gives you the idea that you're being hydrated while you're being dehydrated. So you get a little bit more burnt, but that's just, you got to make sure that you have your water bottle next to you and some sunscreen. That's all it is.
That's true.
I don't pay a lot of attention, but my citrus tree, my lime tree, bloomed out a bunch of limes. And so I picked these up off the ground today because the wind is denuding the tree.
My lime tree, I mean, we're not in the great place for it exactly, but it grows. It's beautiful, except for the limes taste terrible.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I
Mine
know,
are
I'm so
sweet and delicious.
disappointed.
Do you leave them on the vine till the very last minute?
Oh yeah, there's no question. They're terrible.
Oh my.
But it,
Okay, I'm going to tell you what will help your lime tree, but I want all the guys to close their ears.
okay.
It's to have a man pee on your tree. It helps so much. And somehow it
I could
does
do
it perfectly. I don't know what to tell you.
Man, I can pee on that tree.
Then James, right out.
I know, it's like, it's in my backyard. People are like too drunk to walk inside and use the bathroom. Oh, they're smoking a cigar. They don't want to put it down. And it's that lime tree is so happy when it gets that urine. I can't explain it. Something in there. It's the best fertilizer for a lime.
I will do that. I will do that. Of course, I think my tree doesn't like being too cold, but it might like the pee better.
I'm telling you, they love the pee.
That's fabulous.
It's got something in it that they love, whatever, nitrogen, I don't know what.
Yes.
They love it.
I got that message.
He thinks that
Thank
they're doing that.
I have heard that from the family of Gia Luisa Limoncello,
Yeah.
Sorrento, and they said the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
It's true. I mean, like, I've used it on both trees. I have a lime and a lemon, and like I'm getting in need of somebody to go pee on both of them at this point in time. Actually, they're kind of both looking a
Yeah.
little.
My lemons are doing fine.
So Pat, sounds like you just need to have a get together with some friends
Right, I was
and
gonna
then
say,
like
it's time for
close
a
the
taste
bathroom.
in my house in the backyard. Well, it's been cold, so it's like If only like I had a baby shower for my daughter the end of February. It was super scorching hot, which really, it's like she like jinxed the place because every time I have a party for her, that's what happens. But I should have told them all to pee on the trees. But
Yeah.
the problem is that her father and his wife came, and all that. It's just like it's not the right time to tell them to pee on the trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna look right. They already jinxed me so much, whatever.
Hilarious.
Is that Winston?
Right? Male urine does something for the trees, maybe female too. I'm not trying to discriminate. It's just that's all I've tried.
Winston was feeling jealous, so he had to come up to say hi. Winston also
Aw.
Oh, he's so cute.
favorite as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Aw, he's
So-
so cute. I love doxies.
So what is everybody's favorite? Now that we've had all three, it definitely seems like this one may have taken the place of a couple of the Manhattan folk, but I could be wrong. So what's everybody think about this one, or all three of them?
Try that.
All right, so we got team 3 here down with KB and Angie.
I like the look because they were all so different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they're all
the-
different, so
So politically correct.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, way different. You're thinking something that goes complements gin, rye. It's awesome. And ginger beer.
and then Laura's is a tie between the Manhattan and the Mule. So all right,
Manhattan.
I'm a Manhattan too.
all right, yeah. What do you think, Greg?
I like the Negroni the best.
Oh, nice. Okay, right on. Yeah.
The Manhattan was good, but it's pretty strong. It's a man's drink.
Yeah, it's a little aggressive. Yeah, I think Pat was right though. With the cigar, I think that like herbaceous savoriness would work really well together with that smoke to kind of balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be testing that later.
Very nice.
I'm an empty nester now, and when I had a couple of dogs that were getting on in years, and when one of them that I was super close to died, I decided I wanted to do something for myself that would make me really happy to kind of celebrate his life and not think of it as a sad thing. And so as a result of that, I took one of the spare bedrooms and I made it into a cigar lounge.
Oh, nice. All right.
It worked out really well. I'm really sorry that poor Murphy is gone, but the cigar lounge is amazing.
That's awesome. I mean, the ending
Yeah.
of that story is awesome. Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will be taking my cigar lounge, going to my cigar lounge, and I will be mixing this with something that goes great with chocolate. And I have some ideas in mind. I have some cigars in mind for that.
Ooh.
It's just good. Oh, yes. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I hope there's something good I can watch, like a movie with it, just over the top.
I like hearing the plans for the rest of the
Who's going
night.
to my
This is a
house?
good start off. Yeah. This is how happy hour is supposed to go. See, you make the plans for the night as you're getting the beginning of the drink on, and then you enjoy the rest of your week, or the start of your weekend that way. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, the rest of my weekend is not looking as spectacular. Saturday, since it rained, is going to be weed pulling day. And I was like,
Ooh.
Oh, no.
who wants to come over for that? Oh, yeah.
See, I like that play, Pat. First, lure them in with cigars and drinks, and then, oh, hey, you
Exactly.
spent the
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Time to pull some
All
weeds.
cigars you can smoke and drink, but you got to get those weeds out of the ground.
And pee on the
And pee on the trees, please.
Yes.
Don't-
Now I know. Yeah, now I know what I've been doing wrong. I got a lemon and a lime out there that haven't.
You haven't ever peed on them? Oh,
Oh, well, they're about 3 years old. So
well,
They're-
don't do the first thing in the morning pee. You just, an afternoon pee on
oh yes, that is. I'm gonna start tonight. No,
them. There you go.
the
It's gonna
lime.
get drunk. Your first one is gonna be a drunken one. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Amaro, they're gonna come out,
Really help.
If the tree's really bending in the wind, just assume it's very flexible.
The question for Ryan.
pardon me?
I said I have a question for you. Did you taste your like 3-year pre-opened one versus your freshly opened one yet?
I did, yes. That's the first thing I did.
How did
What's
it?
the difference?
Very, very little. I would say if you compared them neck to neck, because seriously, this one is probably at least 3 years old. And I was really amazed. Because I tasted them next to each other, I could tell a little bit difference. The older one compared to the newer one, the older one just was a little bit lighter, lost a little bit of its maybe or something. This was a little bit just a touch lighter. And this one had a more of an aftertaste, a little bit more syrupy. This seemed, I don't want to say watered down is the wrong term, but and just barely discernible. If I had it just by itself, which is a great, I was really curious to see, because a lot of times things like this might change drastically in 3 years of just opening and closing. And I'm not sure what the recommendation is, but I just happen to have it because I have a bunch of these and I found one that was open. But I don't think I would ever have one of these that would last 3 years, but I'm in the business and things get put away in a corner of my garage and I dig them out, later.
Yeah,
But
that is one thing I miss from being a rep is just the boxes of things that you're like, oh crap, I have this. Like just the finding of things that you sometimes go through where you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
like, oh, I do have 5 Japanese whiskeys in here somewhere. Like, how'd that happen? Like, yeah. Well, awesome, everybody. As usual, thank you so much for joining us on a happy hour with Jeremy. I do have a fun announcement that next month has already been decided. We will be working with, if you've been in the store over the last year, you've definitely heard me talk about them because I like them a lot. I've written a couple articles that involve them as well, but it's Redwood Empire. They are a distillery out of Sonoma, excuse me. They have 3 expressions that they make. They make a bourbon, which is called Pipe Dream. They make a rye, which is called Emerald Giant. And then they make a blend of their rye and their bourbon called the Lost Monarch. So we will be trying those. We will be actually Zooming with the master distiller. Y'all might know, for wine heads, you might remember this, or this name might sound familiar to you, but Jeff Duckhorn is his name. He is the master distiller for Redwood Empire. So he will be joining us, and that's going to be on May 26th. So I know we usually do this on Fridays nights. This is going to be a Thursday, May 26th. And we should have everything for them starting basically at the beginning of the month. So we should have some time to, for y'all to decide, for you to talk to your friends about joining in on it. But I love Redwood Empire. I've written articles about it. I'll definitely put it in the link for when we start talking about this in our emails. So y'all can check out that article as well. Really cool stuff. And again, having the master distiller is always fun. We've done that a couple times now. We've had the master blender and master distiller. And it's just really cool to get into the minds of the people who make all this stuff too. Not that, Ryan, you were fantastic. Loved having you. You were a great host.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. But
Yeah.
it's really cool to get into the minds of the people who make the stuff, because I have an artistic brain. I like to draw, or not draw, excuse me. I like to write. I like to come up with parodies of songs and different sketches and stuff like that. But how to make a whiskey just blows my mind. Like, I love tasting the stuff, I love drinking the stuff, but like how you put these things together, what you're blending, who you're deciding to get your corn and your malts from, all that stuff just baffles me. So it's always just cool to see and talk to those individuals as well. So May 26th, Thursday, 6 p.m. That will be the next one. That's going to be Redwood Empire. So that we'll have the announcements going out at the beginning of May for that. But since we're still here, we're still talking about tonight. Again, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed Amaro Montenegro. I hope you learned a little bit. I hope you found a new cocktail that you might make every once in a while. Enjoy it with the cigar as well. Ryan, thank you so much for your information. Thank you for being a co-host on this. And then, so yesterday was April 21st, and we did have a birthday that day.
Woo!
So Deborah, I would like to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh,
Well, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Yeah, get closer.
you.
that's awesome.
Oh, and it was also Ryan's birthday, so you guys are birthday twins.
Happy birthday, Deborah and Ryan. Woo!
Yeah.
Where's
Oh,
Deborah?
yeah, happy belated birthday to both Deborah and Ryan.
That's
Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you all had fun tonight.
Thanks.
As usual, sorry, Greg. So you were asking when are we going to do in-store tastings? Very good question. So tomorrow is actually the first mini one we're doing. We're going to be doing sake. I'm going to be pouring 2 sakes tomorrow for our Mad Dumpling truck. So as some of you know, we have more food trucks that are popping up at the store now. Mad Dumplings is a regular for us on Saturdays. And so in honor of that, I'm going to be pouring 2 sakes in store tomorrow for $1. You can get to try both of them and just kind of like both go really well with any food that you will get from the truck. Just super easy flavors on them, really nice kind of entry level sakes that you get to try. Yeah, for $1. You get to try both of them for $1. And that will be our first tasting in store. I wouldn't say official because it's a very small pop-up version. But we are looking to June as being a start date for us doing in-store ones again. We will be starting with everybody's favorite, champagne. So it's going to be, like everybody gets to hang out with Samantha. She's excited to start seeing everybody again. But yeah, we'll definitely start with the champagne, and it's going to be different for all y'all who have come to the tastings at the Wine Country before. We're not going to do as many as we were doing. It was just a lot of work for us employees and a lot of extra inventory coming in for new things that we had to try to, get everybody excited about. So we're going to change it up a little bit, but yeah, keep an eye out. In May, we'll definitely start doing some announcements for what our in-store tastings will start looking like if everything keeps going the way it is. If we have to start masking up again, unfortunately, we will have to we won't bring it back, but with the way everything's looking now, it looks like we'll be okay to start doing them again. And so June is when you'll start looking for, or June is when we're starting to keep an eye out for that.
I miss your tastings.
Yeah, I mean, we miss doing them. Like, we miss the excitement of having it, in the emails this week, it's even been mentioned that we miss that excitement that you all have when you come in and try something, or, when you bring your friend over to the table and go, oh, try number 3. Like, number 3, I really like, and seeing what they like about it too. Or, having that friendly competition of who has or who picked the better wine of the day, so we definitely miss that stuff. We miss that interaction. We're excited to get back to it, but we also just want to make sure we're safe about it too. So again, we'll keep another month in the space, but June is when we're hoping to start doing tastings again at the store.
Sounds good.
Yeah, unfortunately, spirits
If you're not doing
tastings.
6, how many are you doing?
Sorry, what was that, Pat?
Not doing 6 tastings, how many are you doing?
Oh, well, we're doing 3 tastings a week. But we'll probably start with just the one. We'll start with Fridays, because Fridays are a little easier for us to contain and to us to hold the numbers to, so we can be a little bit more comfortable with it. But yeah, we still need to figure out some details on that. There are definitely some things we still need to, as a team, talk about and figure out the minute details of things. But for sure, Fridays will be the first starting point for us. And so, yeah, we're looking forward to that. And again, unfortunately, we don't have a spirits license to pour. So the happy hours will either continue on Zoom, or if we're able to find a partner to work with, where we used to do them at Delia's, for anybody who came to those, that used to be something we used to do. But I'm gonna be 100% honest. I like these Zoom ones. I mean, they're not as fun because they're not as personal. You don't get that energy in the room as people get a little get a little bit more intoxicated. There's a little bit more energy, a little bit more hype. But it is really nice because everybody's home and safe. That is also a plus on these, especially with wine, it's a little different.
So far away.
Yes, very true. Yeah, and see if we don't do Zoom, Deborah can't join us. Like if we do them in store, like or if we do them in person, I guess I could have a camera in the corner where Deborah could join us, but it's a little different. But yeah, no, I for the happy hours, it is kind of nice that everybody's safe at a home or safe at somewhere where they're comfortable. Because then again, we're done. It's almost 7:30 now. We're almost done. You still have the whole night where you can either sober up and go home or keep having a great time and enjoy a cigar. It's all up to you. It's all your personal choice. And it's just a little bit more relaxing in that sense. So while in-store tastings will most likely begin in June for wine and beer, happy hours with Jeremy will continue to be happy hours at home for everybody. But
Yay!
yeah. Again, everybody,
The
thank
other
you so
thing that's
much.
Nice about Zoom, Jeremy, is that, we can pull out stuff. Oh, okay, here's the cheese and
Exactly.
here's the mule glass and here's the antique glass from my crazy mother and here's our glass, and you can do all these funny things that you can't do when you're in the store.
Exactly. Very true. Very true. And speaking of glasses, Kelly, thank you very much for the Wine Country custom glasses that you made for everybody who attended tonight. They are adorable and you did a great job with those. So thank you for making those. Ryan, thank you for
That was
your
really
information.
nice. Yes.
Thank you very much for the hospitality. I really appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
Ryan, you
Every-
did
Thank
such a
you.
good job.
Everybody,
And
thank you so much.
Thanks for picking Montenegro. This was so much fun and such a fun way to incorporate it.
Yeah.
So thank you so
Great
much.
job. Very
Uh,
informative. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I hope
Cheers.
everybody enjoyed themselves. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers to everybody. Have a great night, y'all.
Cheers,
Thank you
Jeremy.
so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.